I understand the frustration of many people with rampant abortion. Okay, I really do. And, but I also, like I've said before, I think that abortion is one of the grimmer symptoms of deeper problems that we have. But I also think that the people who are calling themselves abolitionists are really barking up the wrong tree and are extremely misguided. And they also don't seem to understand just how badly the analogy with the abolition of slavery, it just doesn't work, okay? Slavery, in the Old South and throughout much of the world was for most of human history a public institution. And of course it was everywhere, and we shouldn't think of it as something that white people did to black people. It was something white people did to white people, black people did to black people, Polynesian people did to Polynesian people, Asian people did to Asian people, American Indian people did to American Indian people, and so on and so forth. And in all likelihood, the majority of slave owners and the majority of slaves were neither white nor black. They were probably mostly Asians, because most people were probably Asians. Okay? But the thing is, an abortion, by contrast, is something that is done in private. It's not something that is done publicly. It's something done privately. So it doesn't, it's just not a good parallel. Okay? And, it's enslavement was done primarily, one person wanted somebody else's, body, to use somebody else's body for their benefit. And a female who gets an abortion is not trying to use the body of the fetus to her benefit. She's failing to have her body be used to the unborn's benefit. So it's kind of the reverse situation. Now that's been used as an argument for legalizing abortion, but it doesn't have to be. It just is an argument of why, the parallel with slavery is not good. Okay? Another thing about it is they're trying to pass laws which would essentially get women who have abortions prosecuted for murder. Okay? Now, the fact is, this isn't going to happen. We don't live in that type of society. We don't live in Afghanistan. Okay? And there's an irony in here in the reason for that. Now, part of the reason we're not going to do that is our society is not, contrary to some radical feminists, it's not as savagely misogynistic as some societies have been, and some societies, in fact, are. And one of the reasons for this, oddly enough, is Mariolatry. The Roman Catholics pushed the kind of idolization of the Virgin Mary, which kind of created a, respect and adoration and protectiveness toward women generally. And that Mariolatry resulted in a feeling of a pro-female feeling, and it's just not going to lead to the sort of misogynistic thing that is going, that would lead to women who have abortions being prosecuted for murder. and being put on gurneys. And in addition, you know, you could, have some very bizarre situations which would be very unsympathetic. But the majority of women who have abortions, it's not usually because they don't want to get stretch marks, okay? Most of them have lives that are very difficult, and they are sympathetic, okay? So I really think that we've got to use our imaginations in better ways we've got to try to decrease abortion. But I think they've got to do it in better ways than Pastor Jeff Durbin and his cohorts are trying to do it, because that's